Are you getting tired of seeing me yet? No? Well, great, because I have another video for you this week. This video is to complement our Wednesday lesson if you want extra practice. And if you missed the lesson, the live lesson, it depends on what your teacher has done. This might be your assignment. This might be something else. So this is for Wednesday, the 30th, September 30th lesson. All right, so we are working on dividing with decimals this time. And we're just going to do standard algorithm on this. So we're going to just move right into it. First number is 9. With 9, we have to look at our 5s. 5 times what gets us closest to 9 without going over? I'm going to make these wiggly lines because I want it to be close to 9, but I don't want it to go over 9. Well, 5 times 1 is 5, and 5 times 2 is 10. So we have to go with 5 times 1. 1 times 5 is 5, so we are going to subtract that 5. Subtract 5 is 4. We're going to bring down the 3. For down in this area, for our workspace area, we do not have to worry about that decimal. But we do have to worry about the decimal in our quotient. We have to, if there's no decimal in the divisor, just in the dividend, then we just bring this decimal straight up. It's really important to keep your place values in order so that your decimal doesn't get in the wrong spot. So we're on the 3 now. So we've got 5 goes into 43. Well, I know that 5 times 8 equals 40, and 5 times 9 is 45. So I'm going to have to go with 5 times 8. 5 times 8 is 40. Subtract that. I've got 3 left. I'm going to bring down the 5. I've got 35. 5 goes into 35. If you know your facts, you've got 5 times, why did I write 4 times 8? 5 times 8. Wow, sometimes I'm a little goofy. 5 times what equals 35? If a number ends in the ones place with a 5 or a 0, it's a multiple of 5. So you know that it goes evenly into it. So what times 5 makes 35? Right, 7. 7 times 5 is exactly 35. We have no leftovers. Yay! First one's done. Second one. I'm finding I didn't have anything covered over here. I'm finding that I have to put a colored piece of paper on there. Otherwise, my camera can't decide what to do with it, and it kind of goes in and out of focus. Okay, sometimes you'll have a case where there's a decimal in the divisor. The easiest way to solve these is to get rid of the decimal in the divisor, but we can't just make it disappear. It still exists. What we have to do is we essentially have to multiply it by 10. But if we multiply the divisor by 10, we have to multiply the dividend by 10. So what that kind of looks like, the simpler way to think of that is we have to move the decimal over one place value in order to make it just 12, which means our decimal is right here for 63. We have to move it over one place value, and it's 630. Now we're changing the numbers a little bit, but we're not going to change the quotient because we did the same thing to both sides. We multiplied by 10 to get 12. We multiplied by 10 to get 630. So we're going to end up with the same quotient here as here. All right. So now I can think about my 12s. I don't know my 12s very well, but I do know 12 times 5. 12 times 5 equals 60. That gets me closest to 63. I'm going to have you solve it. All right. So we've got 5. 5 times 12 is 60. We're going to take that away. And we've got 30. 12 goes into 30. How many times? 12 goes into 30. 2, because 12 times 2 equals 24, and then it's 36. So yeah, 2 times. So for 24, and we have 6 left over. Now this is the crazy thing with decimals. We don't just end it. We don't just write R6 because we're 6th graders. What we do is the value does not change. We can put as many zeros behind this. We can put a decimal and zeros. We can put zeros until the day we die, and it's still the same value. This number, 630 and no, I don't know what that is, 100 millionths, is the same thing as 630. We're just basically saying that there's a decimal there and there's nothing behind that decimal. But we can use that strategy to then bring down a 0, but we have to put that decimal straight up in the quotient. All right. So now we have 12 goes into 60. Well, we already have that one. It goes in 5 times exactly. So our answer becomes 52 and 5 tenths. All right, last one. See if you can solve this one. You've got a decimal in both places. All right, before you completely solve it, let's make sure that your decimal is in the right spot. All right. So we've got a decimal in the divisor, and we're going to move it 2 places to make it 15 instead of 15 hundredths. For those of you who don't know me, that's how I distinguish between hundreds and hundredths. So we have to move our dividend decimal the same number of places. So we have to move it 2 places. So this becomes 15 into 740. All right, so that's how we handle it when you've got a decimal in both sides. Now go ahead and solve it, taking care of the remainder in a decimal 6th grade way. All right, here we go. So my 15s, I'm not terribly strong with them, but 74 is a pretty big number, so it's going to be fairly out there. 15 times 1 equals 15. Times 2 is 30, times 3 is 45, times 4 is 60, times 5 is 75. Oh, I can stop there for right now. I might need to go up higher for a little bit later on. But 15, going back to my blue, 15 goes into 74 without going over. That's important. 5 times gets us really close, but 75 goes over 74. So we have to go with the times 4. 15 times 4 is 60. We subtract that and we have 14 left. We bring down the 0. I am quite a ways away. So I'm going to keep going with this. 6 is 90, times 7 is 105, times 8 is 120, times 9 is 135. Okay, so I shouldn't have to go to the tens, like it's 15 times 10, because that should be too much. And sure enough, the closest I can get without going over is 15 times 9, which is 9 times 15 is 135. I have 5 left over. This is where we put our decimal in. Our decimal goes straight up, and we can put as many zeros as we want to until we're dead, which is not a fun way to spend your life, by the way. And we bring down our first 0. 15 goes into 50. Well, I've got all of them written down here, so I can just look. It goes in 3 times without going over. My goodness, I'm going to run out of space. And I've got 5 left over. I'm going to bring down another 0. Oh, no. I've checked all these. This is actually a repeating one. We got 50 again. It's going to be 3 minus 45, 3, 3, 3. We're trying not to do any repeating ones, but this one happened to be repeating. Here's how you handle that. In 6th grade, you do one of 2 things. If it repeats, you pick one and you put a line over it. That tells the reader of the number that that number repeats forever and it never ends. The other thing you can do is you can go to the 10,000ths place and use it to round to the 1,000ths place. All right, so 3 makes that 3 stay a 3 or turn to a 4. Right, it makes it stay a 3 because it's under the number 5. So if it's 0, 1, 2, 3, or 4, it stays the number. If the second number or the number over deciding whether or not this number moves is a 5, 6, 7, 8, or 9, then it goes up. All right, so the answer in this case is 49 and 333 thousandths. All right, and that is it for today. 3 different ways to handle decimals. you have to get your divisor, you have to get your divisor into a whole number. So however many times you move that decimal over, you have to move it over in the dividend. If there's no decimal here to begin with, you just move the decimal and the dividend straight up. But there was one, so we didn't move it straight up. All right, that's it. Bye.